I was separated from that voice. It was just a distant whisper, really, but it was there, and I didn't listen to it, which is, one of the things I teach more and more is about, the power of listening to our heart, because when we don't, we get into loads of trouble, and sometimes it's very hard to hear it. So I left regardless and went on my journey. And I had one more chance to stop along the way because my leg was really hurting. It was like something in me was saying, like, go home, but I didn't. And then I drove another half a mile, saw a sign, thought, great, and then bang, there was this tremendous thud, and I just thought, what the hell was that? I felt my spine break inside of me. I felt something shatter inside of
Oh
me,
gosh.
and I literally had gone off the road for no apparent reason. There was no other car involved. Dropped 60 feet, which was the only place in that place I could have gone through it and even possibly stayed alive, because there was a 120-foot drop. I went through the hole in the hedge, so we speak, and then travelled about quite a lot of meters down an unploughed field to end up enclosed in a bramble hedge, unable to be seen from anywhere or heard, in a smoking car. Um, and just as I hit the ground, my glove box blew open and a CD popped out, which my friend had titled "You're Not Dead" from Pink's album "I'm Not Dead Yet." And the first thing I see when I open my eyes is like, "You're not dead." And I'm like, really? Wow, but how the hell do I get out of here?
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Be On Air. I'm your host, Kaylee Marks, and today I've brought to you a true treasure. Jenny Lynne Sessions, also known as Gen X, is an incredible soul who I came across on the magical, mystical interwebs quite by accident. And I have enjoyed my conversations with her so much. I didn't realize the depth of this soul when I first connected with them. And then every conversation, we went deeper and she shared more about her incredible life story, her incredible work that she does. And it really just blew my mind. And so today we're going to be talking with Jenny Lynne Sessions about her journey. She's a shaman, healer, teacher, and a channel for higher guidance and healing. She's been involved in the healing arts for over 25 years, and she walks extensively with shamans, wisdom keepers, and spiritual leaders. I'm just so excited for you all to get to meet this wonderful person. We're going to be getting into her journey, her story, her medicine, and how you can also become your own medicine. So without further ado, Jenny, it is so great to see you. Welcome to the show.
It's so great to be here, Kaylee, and likewise, thank you for the intro. And I have so appreciated all the conversations that we've had as well, and the depth of your spirit. And it just feels really great to be here. And hello, everybody out there, wherever you are, present, past, well, not past, well, maybe, but future.
Yes, this human here, dear audience, is someone who will always kind of help you to remember your true essence and who you really are and what's really important. And I think people like that are special gifts, And I'll just share briefly. When we first met, I just received a strange call from a stranger that I'd never met on Facebook Messenger. And I don't usually accept calls from people I don't know, and so I didn't at that time. And luckily you're persistent, and I don't know what your pull to reach out to me was, but it didn't take long. As soon as I think because you tried a couple times, we connected. I just answered the call, and I was kind of blown away. I didn't realize I was about to meet someone who's so in alignment, who felt like soul family. And so it's just it's really special to have you here. And I know we've been trying to do this for a while. And I know that you're gonna start us off maybe with like a blessing of auspiciousness for our conversation. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. So, I'm just going to move over there to my good friend, the mother drum, and invite you, people who are maybe watching or listening, to just take a moment to take a breath, take a really, really deep, generous breath inside. You know, we forget to do that a lot. So just really just let that air fill your lungs and just let it out again. Feel your feet on the floor, your heartbeat in the center of your beautiful being. And just come present in this moment, letting the rest of your day just disappear like bubbles in the wind. And just bring your center, self-centered self to your center, even quietly and gently. And I'm just going to go and call in a little spirit song blessing. You might like to open yourself to ask for healing for whatever is uppermost in your mind, and allow the frequencies that come through to dance with you in whatever way you feel comfortable. So listen to your own heart, do what's right for you, or just enjoy for a moment the connection. We're all connected. The interconnectedness of life is superbly profound, and the ripple effect is also undeniable. So may the frequencies here ripple all the way to you in a beautiful way. Please feel free to just kind of honour the amazing person that you are. Look at the journey you have taken to be where you are right now. And here we are together. Nothing happens by accident. That means to all my relations. Oh, we are shaman. Hey ya ho. Yeah, mama ko ye. Hey mama ko ye. Hi ay 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 ay. Oshama kwelo. Mama kuya chelo. Makute kuana heyo. Shema makoye. Kwa materia. Mama koye. Ayano. Shewa makoyata. Hea mama kwelo. Mama che wakoneya ho. Oh mama heya. Oh ya makwelo. Mama kuyo cha mama ho yeah. Ay 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 ay. Ay 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 ay. Ay 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 ay. Momo moko. Momo moko ye. Mama kwelo. Maya maya moka ma eyo. Ha. Uma, Hikwi, Hamakwela, Makute Kushimo Kwaya Hayano, Ea Mama Koye, Ayawakan, Shakwea Makoye, Hayano, Ushkama, Heukwa, Wakune, Wakweo, Lamakuitaka, Ayakwakune, Ushkama, Ushkama,
Oh, wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Would you tell us a little bit about like what language that's in and how you came upon that song?
Well, that song has never been sung before. It was just sung in that moment. And some years ago now, when I was with the elders, they said to me, when you sing, the energies that are dislocated and disharmonious start to cohere, and they start to align, which also means that somebody who might be a little bit fragmented can start to really connect in so that their perceptions become clearer. And on a very simple level, I'm like, really? Anyway, that kind of progressed and progressed, and it's been a very extraordinary journey, considering that I didn't have a voice for so many years, and all I ever wanted to do was be a singer and a rock star. So they made me wait until I hadn't got any ego anymore before they let my voice through. And I'm a channel for spirit song, as I would call it, and supported by um, those indigenous ones that heard it and pointed it out to me, because I have been told once by somebody that I might be being culturally misappropriating, and I said, well, actually, it was them that spotted it and gave me the connection to allow that through. So I really thank my teachers, elders, um, for blessing me with that option, even though it was quite a scary one at the time, because when you don't know what's coming out of your mouth and you need to be connected, not with your ego, but to the hearts of the other, it takes a little bit of getting used to, and I'm really grateful that I can do that now.
You know, this idea of it's like walking a tightrope, right? Like the ego and our connection to source, and it's like our ego can block, and our mind can block that channel of flow. And you once shared this great story with me. You're also a public speaker. You're a counselor. You work with clients one on one. You work with groups, and you're sharing this great story about channeling and about what happens when there's maybe static on the channel, or you can't find the right channel. Maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, it was actually at the launch of what was going to be a new spiritual TV channel, and I'd been asked to come with the drum, and to read poetry and to bring the spirit songs in, do some healings potentially, and to speak. I was being interviewed on the stage, and there was like a couple of big cameras on me and the interviewer, who great fortunately had a sense of humor, and a sense of humor is such the best medicine, as I'm sure you all know. And I was telling a story which was an Anishinaabe legend about how the women brought peace to the men through the drum. And I'd been speaking to an amazing elder the night before to share the story with me. And I have a memory and an organisation difficulty from a car accident and various things. So I'd asked her to break it down into 5-year-old pictures and big writing, and let's journey through it visually. And then it lodges in my heart really well, which we did. So I was sitting on stage being interviewed, and I started off this story in real enthusiasm and gusto. And I was closing my eyes because other energies were coming through. And suddenly it was like I went completely, absolutely blank. And there was about 200 people in the room, all with their eyes on me. And I'm like, oh my God, not now, seriously. And so, fortunately, my sense of humor was with me at that moment rather than going into panic. And it was like I just literally flipped my bright poncho, my Native American poncho, over my head and announced that I was disappearing for a spirit break, to figure out where the rest of the story had gone. So I asked everybody to just close their eyes and to breathe and to go back to the moment they walked through the door, and to remember how they came in, where they journeyed to since, and then to embrace the silence in the moment of me basically interrupting the story. And I was able to stay out of, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Although I did have a little panic under the blanket. And I listened, and I just sat still, and I thought, there's this profound silence. Here I am with a great big audience, with a blanket over my head, and everybody doing their meditation. This is kind of funny and profound. And it was literally about 10 minutes, which felt like 3 weeks. Suddenly the imagery came back to me in the middle of my connection, and it was like I shot off my chair. I was so thrilled with the sort of innocence of a child being gifted something incredible. And it was literally a eureka moment, which made everybody jump out of their quietness. And I finished the story. But what transpired was, because I was integral with the mistake, which wasn't a mistake because everything's perfect, it's only a mistake when we let our brain get hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd followed what was necessary, and other people had kind of actually ended up enjoying having a space to go and mull over what was going on for them. And so we all kind of came back and connected in a beautiful way. And it took me 2 hours to get to the lunch queue because of people stopping and saying, thank you so much for having that break. Thank you so much for not being perfect, whatever that is. And it was it was just a beautiful moment to see that whatever this says is perfect is usually not true, because perfect is being present. And we can all do that more and more and more. And being present with what is, we can all flow together, and then something even more magical can happen.
So well said, and it's so true. Like when I have been so attached to the way that I'm going to do something or the way I'm going to express something, I can lose touch with the way things naturally are trying to flow, and I think the Tao teaches us this and yoga teaches us this, is like we can tune in to an inner compass. And I love the authenticity and the vulnerability there, and just the humanness of like humans connecting to source and to spirit and what happens. And it actually gives me more faith and inspiration because I live so much of my life feeling disconnected, but the moments of connection are so powerful and profound. They kind of keep me going till the next one. So you also mentioned this accident that happened, and I know this was a really big accident and a very it was a catalyst maybe for much of the medicine that you're bringing. So I was hoping that you could walk us through what happened and where it took you as a result.
Wow. Where to start? Well, basically, I had a sense that something life changing was going to occur to me nearly a month before it happened. And I was on a journey where all sorts of symbols were cropping up, all sorts of things. How can I say? Nature spoke to me in so many different ways, and I knew something was coming, and I didn't know exactly what. Or how it would transpire, but I ended this journey where I was reading the signs and feeling definitely something was going to happen. Went home for a couple of weeks and then went back to complete a journey that is the journey I should never have taken, really, on some level. Um, and I was kind of wanting more of what I'd had before. So that little bit in me that was grasping for a bit more took me to an edge. And I was driving on this day. I left my house and I didn't feel very well. I'd had some Indigenous elders staying, and we'd had an amazing group the night before. They'd left, and I wasn't feeling very good, and something was wrong. I didn't know what it was, but I heard myself say as I left my front door, I don't feel very well. I think I should go back to bed, really, and I'm worried about having an accident. But it was almost like I was separated from that voice. It was just a distant whisper, really, but it was there, and I didn't listen to it, which is, one of the things I teach more and more is about, the power of listening to our heart. Because when we don't, we get into loads of trouble, and sometimes it's very hard to hear it. So I left regardless and went on my journey. And I had one more chance to stop along the way because my leg was really hurting. It was like something in me was saying, like, go home, but I didn't. And I carried on, and about 10 miles before I got to Glastonbury, I stopped, had a cup of tea, had a walk around, got back in the car, couldn't find Glastonbury. The sat nav went berserk, and I was getting really frustrated because I was tired. And then I drove another half a mile, saw a sign, thought great, and then bang, there was this tremendous thud, and I just thought, what the hell was that? I felt my spine break inside of me. I felt something shatter inside of
Oh
me,
gosh.
and I literally had gone off the road for no apparent reason. There was no other car involved. Dropped 60 feet, which was the only place in that place I could have gone through it and even possibly stayed alive, because there was a 120-foot drop 2 feet
Oh
away.
my God.
And I went through the hole in the hedge, so we speak, and then travelled about quite a lot of meters down an unploughed field to end up enclosed in a bramble hedge, unable to be seen from anywhere or heard, in a smoking car. Um, and just as I hit the ground, my glove box blew open and a CD popped out, which my friend had titled "You're Not Dead" from Pink's album "I'm Not Dead Yet." And the first thing I see when I open my eyes is like, "You're not dead." And I'm like, really? Wow, how the hell do I get out of here? But it was like it was a magic moment between worlds, because I was kind of between worlds. It's like I'd been shunted in such a big way. I lost 2 inches in height because of the that effect on me in the car.
Mm.
And it was a miracle that I got found. And I'm not sure, what was the question you asked me, because I've just diverted.
Well, yeah, no, I mean this is a terrible accident, and at the same time, it's like I get that feeling being in between worlds, waking up. I mean, the first question that came to mind is like, um, when you felt that, like, I imagine you're in a tremendous amount of pain when you felt your spine,
I
and then when you woke up, were you in pain, and how were you found?
so basically I went felt the big initial what's the word, impact, and then I felt myself bouncing and trees going past and thinking I have no idea what's happening. It was a small place where I don't remember anything, and then the
Mm.
car came to rest. Door flew open, and I am sitting there thinking, oh my god, I've got to get out of this car because it could blow. And I'm thinking, no one can hear me, no one can see me. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to walk up the hill and I'm going to get help. And then tried to move, but my spinal fractures moved. So I had to hold on to my body weight with my fingers in the groove above the car for quite some hours, because when I stood up to walk out of the car to throw myself somewhere, I realised I couldn't. And it was like, thank God I didn't try, because that would probably have paralysed me. So I tried to sit back in the car, realising that I couldn't throw myself any significant distance if it did blow up.
Because of the pain you could feel.
Well, because basically I'd need to go quite far away from the car in order to be outside if it exploded. So I thought,
Hmm.
if I throw myself down on the ground, I'm probably going to be paralysed. I was in terrible agony as well.
Mm.
So I sat back down and just had to wait. And I didn't know if anyone was going to find me or if darkness was going to fall and I could be there until I died. And and then suddenly I heard voices and turned to my left, and a well-known healer's nephew turned up in the window with his friend, and apparently he'd been flagged down on the road by a guy with a daughter who said, I can't go down and look and see what possible carnage might be down there, but I've just seen this car fly through the hedge. And apparently I drove around 13 trees um, on my way down.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
this The people that rescued me with these two young guys, and they were wearing hiking boots. They bombed down there, and they called for emergency services. I think there was 4 towns worth of emergency services, helicopters, and they had to build a 350-foot hydraulic ramp track to try and get me. And then the helicopter couldn't land, so I was backboarded up in a very very dodgy way by everybody. It was an incredible rescue, really, and they learnt apparently that they'd only learnt how to do that kind of rescue with those hydraulic ramps 3 days before.
So, what would you say before the accident and after the accident? What was the biggest um, transformation in your life as a result of that? What changed in your life? Obviously, you had to go through a tremendous amount of recovery, but what, especially internally and with your view on the world and your connection to spirit and your outlook on life, did anything change? What came about from this terrible accident?
Well, it's funny. It's quite some years now since that happened, and I would say that the transformation side is actually majorly happening now, and I wanted it to happen then. But in a way, every step since then to now has been that, and it's very easy to sometimes not see a transformation because you think it should look a certain way. I think some of the transformation was the fact that I survived. Um, that spirit was definitely on my side. It wasn't my time to go, but it was my time to learn how to love myself and bring myself home no matter what. And at one point, when I thought, I don't know if I can do this, and I thought, you know what, I kind of feel like I had a choice, and I was thinking about going out the back door because it was just untenable. And this voice just came through me, and it said, you know what, you've got so many important gifts to deliver, and you haven't done that fully yet, and this is about that last piece to do that, and you're going to have to get back in your boots and start walking, because it isn't just about you, it's about being of service.
Wow. So this wasn't, you didn't feel a fear of like, oh, I didn't get to have enough vanilla ice cream in my life, or, I didn't get to say goodbye to these people. You had this sort of call to action that like, you're not done yet.
Yeah, definitely, and it felt so profound, the weirdest thing is that quite often I've been afraid of dying in a certain way, and things have been very challenging and what have you. But at that moment, in that predicament, I don't ever remember thinking I might die at all, which was
Mm.
really interesting because I didn't have an experience that I would have liked to have had, in the sense of how you sometimes hear people reporting their NDEs, off to the council and all that. And I was really sad about
Life
that.
review, all that, your
Yeah,
favorite people come and get you.
totally. But when I actually spoke to the elders, they said, "You absolutely did." And I said, "Well, I don't remember it." And they said, "No, you don't remember it, but the frequency you came back with is completely different. And we see it in your drawings, your spirit songs, and other things." So they bore testimony to the fact that I had been to the other side and back, and my frequency had shifted. And I think it's taken quite a long time to actually create the right container for those things to come through in an authentic way and start to help me embody the soul journey that I chose to make. I'm born as a cesarean. Originally, I really always had the sense that I was ripped out too soon, hadn't fully chosen life, and had a struggle to embody myself in this world for quite a long time. It certainly wasn't fun. The accident throws me back into a place where I have to choose life for me, not for anybody else. I have to say, well, am I here? Am I coming? Am I going to stay? What am I here for? It's not just about me. And it's like I put my hand up and say, do you know what? I got the call. It's beyond
Mm.
me. I have no choice. Yes.
So when you were talking about the C-section, it was sort of like you hadn't fully chosen yet. And then it seems like after the accident, that was another chance to really commit to your life mission. And you share this one thing. You say a couple things. You say turning trauma into treasure and becoming your own medicine. And what does that mean for those listening? What does it mean to be our own medicine? And how do we use that to turn our trauma and our traumatic life experiences into a treasure that we can then share with others in a way that's healing?
Have we got a week? Um,
Probably, yeah, at least.
I think, yeah, I mean, my tagline, if you like, is become your own medicine, turn trauma to treasure, and help heal the earth. Because we actually have to go inside and start, getting to know who we are and looking at our dark edges and seeing how they also serve. Because black and white isn't really black and white at all, and energy is energy. But we attach things to things we call dark or bad or wrong when they're actually an amazing creative force. So starting to look at the whole picture of, what are we, who am I, is really important. And to do personal work to refine that, shift our frequencies, um, become more and more connected and able to be present in the moment, so our perceptions are clear. And become your own medicine, turn trauma to treasure, is really, it feels like, as we become more of who we truly are, as we connect in with the journey that we've chosen to be on. For me, I'd call it a soul path and a soul mission. As we start to kind of become more and more coherent with that and our connection to whatever you care to call spirit or the higher force, we start to shift our frequency and become more valuable on the earth, to help the earth. Because as we can see at the moment, all frequencies are distorted. Everybody's in a bit of a muddle. There's lots of trauma, lots of fear, lots of not being sure what's what. That causes a disconnection. And the disconnection disease is huge, and we need to connect. So connection is so important. So become your own medicine, turn trauma to treasure, and help heal the earth is really about reconnection, connection to nature, connection to your heart, connection to your soul path, connection to what serves you, what you came here with, what's your deepest joy, what's your amazing gifts that you bring, how do you uncover them without getting obscured by all of these programs and messages sometimes that are really harsh, that we come in with and we pick up from other people, that cloud our genius and our beauty. And so becoming your medicine is part of a commitment to you walking your talk in your truth of who you are, and starting to see what do you need to shed to shine.
Mm.
um, in a chapter of a book that will be coming out, a memoir in a book called Phoenix Rising. The chapter that I've written is called A Pearl from the Wreckage. And it feels to me like we're all amazing pearls from the wreckage of life. And a pearl is made by the grit and the shit, the aggravation, So we come here as humans, we sign up for all sorts of things. And it's like all of those things that feel like they're going to break us sometimes are truly an amazing medicine if we allow ourselves to embrace that and become a partner in that transformation. And so in the end, we can shine. So it is about turning shit to gold, um, turning trauma to treasure, turning shit to gold. It's the same sort of thing, but we're transforming. And when we get that we can actually transform, we change our thinking, we change our belief system, we can affect our biology, and we can do so many amazing things that we never got told we could.
Mm.
But opening your heart, listening to your heart, and allowing humor into the mix as well is so important.
Yes. Yeah. Humor is powerful medicine, and turning shit to gold is it kind of it's a perfect metaphor for it, for adding humor into it. But I mean, it's so true. It's like we are dealt the hand that we are dealt. You studied Buddhism, and there's this idea of karma. There's this idea of our past. We are receiving the results to past and previous actions that we're not even aware of, and so there's so many moments that feel unfair and unjust, and it's really hard to know the rhyme or reason behind it, whether it's for a greater purpose or it's a result of something that we ourselves have done in a previous version. um, what was the greatest challenge after this? And also, what do you think the greatest blessing was after this accident?
I think, well, a couple of challenges. One of them would be absolutely chronic pain 24/7 for years and years and years. Not being able to take painkillers to ameliorate that in any way, which is a kind of a gift in disguise. Um, and having to find ways to be present with creativity and other things, and figure out how to manage this pain. So understanding how I could be, I could really succumb to being a total victim. That doesn't work. I could get really mad and angry and be unpleasant to be around. That doesn't work. But finding out that by accepting all of those bits, because they're all there, and how to actually work with my own mind, heart, mind, and bring myself into a presence where I could manage that in a different way was a huge challenge. And I live with a fair amount of discomfort as well. And the other challenge was my memory and organisation, executive function was disturbed. So I live by my intuition mainly, which again the elders said, don't say fuck you, say thank you, because it puts you in your heart more. And one of the things I've really, really learned is when we don't surrender, it gets worse. And surrender doesn't mean give up and be a victim. It means quite the opposite. But if if your mind is trying to tell you to do something a certain way, and you don't want to let go of that, then you're going to struggle if actually that way requires you to come from your heart, until you learn a little bit about surrender. And I had an amazing dog who was paralyzed for 3 months just before he died, and he taught me about surrender. So when I had my accident and I was nearly paralyzed, I understood what it was to say,
Mm.
now I'm in your hands. The gifts are, well, this journey has created now a place for me to be able to look back and understand, in so many details, so many ways, so many different ways, the pearls in the wreckage, literally, and understand that nothing is wasted and nothing's by accident. It's only wasted if we waste it, if I waste it. And that there are so many parts of my journey that make total sense, looking at it from an eagle eye, looking down on the whole picture of how all these little pieces weave together. In the moment, they don't seem like that sometimes, they just don't. But they actually do weave together to make an incredible picture of your life. And now I'm using those things with a voice that says, I am so privileged to be able to come and be in front of somebody to do healing with them, someone to do coaching with them, somebody to work in a group, to be in nature, to work with fire, whatever it is. Fundamentally, it's about connecting to your own magic and bringing that into the world in a connected way. But I'm so grateful to be able to do that as I am, and I'm far from perfect in so many different ways. But I used to be terrified anybody might find out. And it
Mm.
really, really made it impossible to be present at all. And now it's like, God, they're my gifts. The wholes are the gifts. The other bits are the gifts. They're all gifts because none of us are perfect. So playing with that and feeling okay with that is a huge, huge gift, and feeling connected to spirit, that I have my back held, and the power I have is much greater than I ever thought. And it's not power over; it's power within to empower.
Wow. That is profound, and that symbol of spirit having your back, literally, with like your back being fractured in so many places, shattered in so many places. And it's like that, through that healing of that, it's like you're it sounds like you figuratively and specifically are being held. Spirit's got your back.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a bit like the journey of coming back to life.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
it's the same thing, and there's a song that you know about that has come out or will be out shortly, that goes with the book, and it's called "Thank You for My Life, Great Spirit," and it's in a way it's reminding us of all of those things, about how we walk through these fires to come out and be a phoenix rising out of our ashes. And that doesn't just happen once. You don't just get out of the ashes and fly off and have a lovely time. You get to know what it's like, and then you probably find yourself back in the fire again, and then you do it again, and it's gradually you get more adept at it.
Can I ask you, I think COVID and the lockdown really traumatized a lot of people. I think, it affected everyone so differently, but for some people, it was like the Grim Reaper came, and mixture of like the Grim Reaper, zombie apocalypse, and World War III. All it like,
Yeah.
it was a very intense experience, and so many people are coming to terms with mental health and things that they didn't even quite acknowledge about themselves. And what would you say for those of us who feel like we're in the fire currently, for those who feel like there's no hope or no light, or they're not even sure about this whole spirit source thing? Like, how do you be with people when they're going through, I had another guest on talk about the dark night of the soul. Like, how do we access the ladder to move from that?
I think there, for me, that depends on so many different things, because everybody's different. So if I'm working with somebody, I wouldn't prescribe any particular way of working. I'd listen to where that person is, feel where they are, and work from there. And I think we lose our ground so quickly when we're frightened. We lose our ground when the mechanisms that appear to be our safety nets suddenly have giant holes in them and fall through. When we watch the media too much, we get given certain amounts of things which can be really, really disturbing, and not the whole picture, part of the picture. So, one of the things I've noticed is that, in my own choosing to be aware on the periphery of what's going on, to be aware of what's going on in the places that aren't obvious, because both of those sides are valid, but to choose what I'm feeding into my brain. So if I'm feeling scared or anxious, it's really not going to help me to sit and watch the news and then blow that out of proportion before I go to bed.
Right.
Um, and I think it's really important that this thing about grounding and presence, it's like, it's a very known word, let's get grounded. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all know about that. But one of the things that's so important is to spend time in nature, because nature shifts your energy. And also, the more present we are, the more we can experience a beautiful moment despite the bombs that are going off all around us. It's like, when we get taken into all of those bombs, there's nothing but bombs. But when you actually take yourself aware of the bombs into nature, and you spend half an hour feeling a leaf, feeling the earth, smelling the atmosphere, touching a bit of dew on your face, seeing a new spider web in the morning, the light piercing the trees, the animals speaking in the way that they do, you stop aligning yourself with the bombs for a moment. That brings you back to your heart, a bit like a spirit song. And then you start to cohere, and then your brain isn't going you're going like, and those moments are really precious to build upon, and to do that. Often take yourself to the places that bring you peace. But if you are in a state already and you're feeling disconnected and you're feeling lost, the basic things like breath, breathing yourself back into your present moment, connecting with somebody, whether that's a phone call, whether that's a hug, whether that's a text, whether it's an email, allowing yourself to remember that whatever you think is only part of who you are. And we will all have a magic cave somewhere within us. So you might want to travel into your heart and invite a beautiful golden door and ask to be taken through into the beautiful place that is your spirit, and just sit there for a few moments and allow yourself to see the treasure that's there, because you might have a trouble seeing it, but it's still there. And then as you get more adept at that in your own way, that treasure will appear. A metaphor is a beautiful, amazing, magic thing. When you're feeling difficult, ask yourself how you feel. What would it look like if it were a picture for a 5-year-old child? And that gives you a little doorway. You can play and explore. But I think, yeah, the self-care is so important, and sometimes that's very, very hard to do when you're frightened and ungrounded. So coming back in gently and connecting in some way and finding what soothes me. What is it that makes me feel a little bit safer, while you build into your world, into your life, some strategies that you can then start to create from again. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh my God, it's blowing my mind over here. You just said so many wonderful things. I mean, I want to go into some of that. So, this idea of what'd you call it? A secret cave or a sacred cave, or
Yeah, I call it the cave of the sacred heart.
the cave of the sacred heart. So, it also gives me the symbol of the secret garden. And
Absolutely.
this, like, so you said, and I think this is really important for everyone to hear if you ever go through any sort of depression or just dark times, right? You said you are not, your thoughts are only a percentage of who you are. And I think that's such a powerful thing to really sit with for a second. Like, it's so easy to believe our thoughts about everything. And what I'm hearing from you again and again is there's like the mind, there's thoughts, but there's also this there's an embodied sense, and there's the heart, right? And there's this whole mysterious inner world that we can explore, and maybe even like part of why nature is so powerful is because it's like an externalized representation of that. You know, we can go find the secret caverns out there in nature. We can go find the little spot of the woods that no one else has been to, and it sort of shows us that there is mystery. But even within ourself, this idea that there is um, gems and jewels and secret spaces, no matter what we think about ourselves, what we think about ourselves, it's still just a sliver of what's actually there. And through breath, through presence, and through time in nature, we can access those parts. And I liked how you're talking about building into ourselves, almost like building a foundation or buttress, like creating us a an environment that's safe and secure for us as we deal with life.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And I think that's the thing, when structures around us are falling down or they're not integral to our own heart's comfort, then we forget that actually I'm in charge of me. I'm my own magician. I'm my own medicine. If I don't give my power away all the time, what would I like to create in here that makes this a lovely place to come back to when I'm feeling freaked out? And again, in a very simple way, if you rub your hands together really fast and you start to feel that heat, whose heat is it? If you're feeling like separated out and you're not really connected, do rub your palms together really fast, faster, 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 because that's a little bit of your inner fire there. Your energy is building that heat and that warmth, nobody else's. And then if you place that hand just gently over the bottom of your if you draw your finger down from your chin, just down your throat area, just where that bony bit is, there's a little dip, and it's quite a soft, gentle place. It's quite a vulnerable place. If you place that palm that's really warm over that really gently, and then you place your other hand over the top of that hand, and you close your eyes and you just go inside and you feel that warmth on that place and welcome yourself in that moment. It's something you can do anywhere, even when you're on the toilet. And it's like you can just take a few breaths there and then let that heat drop down, and that might be enough. But if you want to, place your hands on your belly and think about, oh, where's my inner fire? What's my inner fire doing? My sacred fire. And imagine a little fire in there. And see, your fire might be very, very strong. It might be like furiously strong, in which case you want to just tend to it gently. It might be that it's feeling really tired and it's like needing a little bit of nurture or stoking. Or it might be that it's gone out and you need to relight it again. We forget. If a fire goes out, we can relight it. So that's another whole journey, but to work with those visions and create from that. And I don't know, maybe I just had an idea. Maybe at some point, Kaylee and I could do a journey around some of those things to help people anchor them and experience them.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that too. The I love the different wisdom traditions and how they all have different overlays, different maps of the energetic body. And I love where those intersect and where they differ. And, we have the chakra system of the Vedas. We have um, the Dantians and the Taoist systems of these sort of like satellites over the different
Yeah.
meridian points, and any system, any wisdom tradition has some sort of map for that. The 9 gates, all this stuff, and I think that the voice, when I just did that exercise as you were sharing it, and the throat chakra, the fifth chakra. Oh, I love your hat. The fifth chakra is so important. Our voice, for me, for this podcast, for Be On Air, for Podcast Farm, my goal, my mission has been to amplify the voices of those who I feel are creating something gorgeous and beautiful in the world. And so many of us come up against imposter syndrome, against I don't like the sound of my voice, against I don't know what to say. And I feel like this energetic work is actually a huge piece of the puzzle of building that loving relationship with our own body, with our own voice, our own vocal cords. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on cultivating our voice and cultivating that message, because I think it's one thing to say, okay, I have medicine, I have gifts, and it's another thing to go out and share those. And how do we access that? How do we really access our voice to share the medicine that we know we have to give?
Mm. Again, I think that's one, a massive question, and two, varies so much with different people as to where the blocks in that vocal expression live. And so that's something that is easy to work with and find out, and then go from there. But on a general level, just one of the things that's really really helpful is, I'm sure everybody remembers humming as a kid, like and if you move your lips around, you can feel that buzz and that vibration at varying degrees. Humming is a beautiful, soothing way of actually shifting your vibration um, very easily, and you can do it so quietly. You can do it on a tube, you can do it on a bus, and no one will know you're even doing it. But you're actually speaking to all the cells in your body. We're full of water, and water has its own intelligence. And when we put that vibration with an intention, which is like, why do you want to do that? How do you want to feel? Make your intention and then do that humming with the idea perhaps of sending it through all the water, through all the cells. You can use your imagination. If you're visual, you can use all the other qualities you've got, because we're not all visual. We all have different ways of doing it, perceiving it, and that's nothing's wrong. It's all right. It just, what's your particular way? But you can send that hum through your body and see those little cells light up. Maybe they've got smiley faces and they get really fat with light, and then they nudge each other and they get fat with light, and it spreads through your body. And you might just imagine, well, what sound does it feel like now after I've been humming? How do I feel? What would that be like in a hum? Would it be a or would it be a And as you move and play around by just changing the tone of that hum, your sacred sound, you'll notice different things, feel different things. So you could use that as a place to explore and also bring yourself into a grounded place.
I love that. This is actually just for everyone listening. Um, for instance, kidney stones. There's a ton of new research and protocols and things. You can actually destroy kidney stones using ultra low frequency. And so sound is no joke. Our body is made of water. Water is a really powerful medium. It holds memory in a specific way. It creates like a crystalline memory structure. And since we're mainly water, it can sometimes people hearing this stuff can think it's like woo or far out. But the truth of the matter is sound. Everything is sound. Everything is frequency. Quantum physics shares this exploration and discovery. And there is something extremely powerful about toning and about humming and frequencies. And so I love that you shared that. And you are an incredible artist, incredible singer. You use your voice so powerfully. I thought maybe you could share a little bit about the new single that's out and what's upcoming for you. Where can people tune in to hear you, to hear more of your work? And I know Burning Woman's coming up. Maybe you could share a little bit about what's coming up soon for you, so my audience can connect with you.
Thank you, Kaylee. What's coming up next? The song is called "Thank You for My Life, Great Spirit," which is also a song with you. If you have an intention when you listen to it, it's powerful. There's a transmission that comes through a lot of what I do beyond what you see and hear face to face, and that song carries a transmission, a healing transmission. So you'll experience it for yourself in your own way. But if you make an intention when you listen to it, that would be great. And also with a sense of gratitude, like what are you grateful for? We forget to say or honor the fact that there isn't much to be grateful for. So the song is really about gratitude as well, gratitude for my life, but also anybody else that's listening will probably connect in with that gratitude. The fact that we are all phoenixes rising, we are all pearls from the wreckage of life. And actually out of that is coming magic. The song at the moment is on Bandcamp, and you can find it on Jenny Lynne Sessions. That's Jenny. Are you going to put this up anywhere, Kaylee?
Yeah, so for those listening, just go to the show notes of wherever you're listening, click the link. I'll make sure to put a direct link to her Bandcamp and website so you can get the download. And I know that it's also going to be out on all platforms. When again?
I think it's going to be about 3 or 4 weeks.
Perfect. So right now it's October 20th. So by the end of November, if you're listening to this in November 2021, you can catch this amazing song. I love it. It is extremely powerful. And you can also find more of Jenny's work on her website.
And the website's in progress at the moment, so it'll be changing around quite a lot. But there's a what's it called? The Burning Woman Online Festival is coming up. There's a link on my website, and maybe Kaylee will put it up. And that's the 20. I think it's the 20th, 21st of November. No, of October. Sorry, or is it November?
And what is that event?
Oh, I've forgotten. Burning Woman it's a women's event, and we had two online ones and one live one this summer, which was amazing. And it's for women only, that one. What's the word I want? This Woman's on Fire was one of the workshops I did for it last in the summer, and it's really about looking at the fire within again. Where is our power? How can we shine? How can we help other people to shine? It's a great group of people. It's run by a lovely lady who is heartfelt and integral, and I think it's definitely worth checking it out. See how you feel. It's free the 2 days. I'm not doing a workshop this year. I'm hosting it, talking about the book, and maybe the song will be there. I don't know.
And when will your book be out?
That should be by the end of November, which is been written with 4 other people, and it's talking about basically turning trauma to treasure, really. So it's 4 people who've had very different,
Wow.
very seriously traumatic events occur, and kind of how we've woven that and turned that into something of benefit to all. Um,
Wow, the end of the 2021 is your year. There's so much birthing right now. You have this song, and you're doing so many more events, and your website's coming up, and then you have this book coming out, and that's just so exciting. And
there's one more
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. What's coming up?
There's a workshop which starts, I think it's on the 2nd, and again, maybe you'd be willing to put it up, of November, which is one session, the first session of 3 sessions that I'm doing with Leo Rutherford, who is a well-known shamanic face around the world, and it's called The Shaman's Song. So you might want to pop in there and have a come and join us for some fun for 3 sessions. They'll be probably about 2 weeks apart, and there'll be a lot more things coming. I'm looking for someone to help me as a PA person and a co-creator. So because I'm not good with social media, stuff. I'm a visionary. Things will be a lot different when that's in play, shall we say, with lots more things coming and ideas. But for now, thank you all for being here, and Kaylee for hosting me, and for whatever positive ripple effect we might have kicked off.
It's such a joy to have you, and I want to remind the audience that you do work with people one on one. You are a counselor. You're a transpersonal therapist. You can help people process things and unlock the medicine within, and turn their trauma into treasure as well. And so people can reach out to you through your website. I'll put all those links there. It's been so wonderful having you. I always love talking to you. You always bring joy to my day whenever we get a moment to connect. And thank you so much for making time and sharing your medicine with my audience.
One more thing, just
Yeah.
popped. Do you mind? It was just to say that my connection with animals is so incredibly important and profound, and working with people and their animals, as well as the animals. My dog died recently, and it's been an extraordinary journey, which has been a lot about how do we stay present out of our own emotional trauma to be able to hear an animal or a person's needs and timings and frequencies, because we overlay, don't we? When we lose the sense of ourselves, we've lost our inner witness, we start to dump and project, and that's on people and animals. So I have a great love of working with people, and animals, or people and their animals, around many different things, because we can learn so much. And or maybe it's about helping a really special ending occur when that has to be, or moving a block in you so your animal can breathe, because they tend to take our stuff an awful lot and need us to be aware of that and help them too. So I just wanted to put that in, because the animal kingdom is such a profoundly beautiful thing, and the plant kingdom, and it's part of the weave.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's, again, everyone's kind of, if I never understood the importance of emotional support animals until probably the last 2 years, how that connection with another being can be so profound. So I love that. Definitely hit up Jenny if you have a animal friend, want an animal friend, grieving the loss of one, going to be grieving the loss of one. She has so many tools and obviously so much wisdom around this. So thank you again for your time. I would love to have you back on the show in the future. And yeah, we'll catch each other soon, I'm sure.
I'm going to just say thank you so much, Kaylee, because you're a wonderful person to have as an interviewer, and your own wisdom and depth of soul and kindness of heart actually reverberates all the way from where you are to where I am, which is a hell of a long way, through a piece of glass, in a way that I'm deeply grateful for, and I feel great love for you. And I really hope that I'm going to make you a big cup of coffee and a nice meal one day, on your side or my side.
Or
And
both.
the last message my dog left when she was passing, because I asked what that was and had a very profound answer, was "Let love be your guiding star." And there's plenty more to say on that, but for now I just leave that with you all, because when we're in our heart and our mind is holding the space, not controlling it, things start to flow, and our medicine starts to breathe, and we start to be inspired and move along the river of inspiration instead of desperation, and beautiful flowers come up and magic happens, and you start to see who you really are. So please hold that in your heart. If it makes any sense to you, let love be your guiding star, and thank you for your life.
Sending you all my love, Jenny. Talk to you soon.